evening. Got out of the executive session, that went a little long. But now 6:36 p.m. on call to order our McMinnville Fire District Director special meeting on the. And first up is we'll call the director.
President Garvin.
Here.
Vice President Smith.
Here.
Secretary Pratt.
Here.
Treasurer Trapp.
Here.
Director Sparrow.
Here.
All present.
And next up, we have a pledge of allegiance, and I'll have to swear to lead us in the evening.
Because you were late.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sparrow. That was changes to the agenda. Do we have any changes? Hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda, which is our minutes from our April 24th, 2025 regular meeting. We get a moment to go through those. If you have any scripture errors or anything. And if not, I would entertain a motion to approve. A motion to approve the consent agenda by Vice President Smith and a second. And that was Treasurer Sparrow. Thank you. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Next up, we have public comment. The part of the meeting where I'll call for statements from citizens regarding district business. We have to include about 3 minutes. I do know we have one side in the room, and then we'll go to Zoom after that. If you're on Zoom, use the raise your hand function, and we'll unmute you at the appropriate time. First up, we have Jennifer.
Yeah, I don't know if it's now or public hearing of budget, doesn't matter, I suppose which, but I was unable to stay for the full budget committee meeting due to the fair board meeting. So I just wanted to put on the record that I too support the budget that's before you tonight and would encourage you to pass it.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else on? Any other comment? No. Oh, Chief Law. Sorry.
Nope, there's no comment.
All right, hearing. Anybody else in the room for public comment? No. Go to public comment. I think let's do our public hearing regarding fiscal year 25-26 budget. I'll open that public hearing. And public comment, anything regarding the budget, anybody on Zoom? Use their raise your hand function and Chief level on YouTube. Do we have anybody on Zoom?
Yeah, here we go.
Okay. Anything on budget, Pete? You good? Sean Paul, you're good? On the budget, are you good? No public comment? Okay. Hearing now, I'll close the public hearing. And move on to this action item, which is adoption of the 25-26 year budget resolution 2025-002.
Thank you, Mr. President. We just have a couple of things for you tonight. We're going to give everybody just another 100,000 foot view in case there's any questions. We can answer them. After Noah is done with that, I am going, for the record, I'm going to answer the 2 questions. I don't want to say in detail, but with more detail that were asked at the budget committee meeting. And that was a question in regards to vehicle replacement, and then a question about good thing that I have written down, firemen and its solvency and such. So I'll answer those. Turn over to Noah.
Thank you everyone for coming. I'm Noah Crillo. I'm the finance manager for the fire district. When we put together this budget for you. The budget this year totals $21,355,249. That is about $1.5 million less than fiscal year 25's total budget, but that is in large part due to the fact that fiscal year 25 saw high amounts of investment in high dollar items like vehicles, apparatus, new SCBA's, new uniforms. When you look at a deeper level, personnel costs have risen this year as we've had a successful bargaining agreement with the union. So personnel costs have risen for all of our divisions. When you look at the detailed budget, it's not clearly indicated that personnel costs have actually risen. That's in large part due to some structural changes, which is some large expenses now being allocated under the general fund. That has been in large part to keep our database a little cleaner and allow us to sit in observations so that we can make more educated budgets in the future, getting more detailed year after year. And finally, it's in large part also due to a smaller operating contingency this year. Last year was 1.7 million, this year it's only $500,000. Again, that was in large part due to the fewer needs or fewer anticipations for the other main structural change that we've had is that the operating contingency is now included in the total expenditures out of all divisions, including the general fund. What that means is that if that contingency is used, it will not affect the general fund balance. So if bad things were to happen and that $500,000 would be used, it does not touch the general fund balance.
But again, like last meeting, that still takes board action to utilize. That is not part of the approved expenditures. So if we had to use that again catastrophically, it would take board action. Yes.
You have any questions?
All right, I wanted to just address publicly two questions, which I thought both the questions were very good. As I stated in the meeting, I did answer them, but I stated I didn't have real good statistical data, so we did our research. I'll start with Ms. Redmond's question, and I would say concern, rightfully so. Replacement of apparatus. We replaced a lot of apparatus last year with 2 engines, 3 ambulances, a staff vehicle. And so that really got us to a better place. We still have, that it is not an inaccurate statement that we still need to replace, especially ambulances moving forward. We do have a path forward. We have identified a path moving forward, even in these tight budget times. All of our configuration money that we get for the vehicles that we send out on configuration, which this year was approximately $100,000, I believe. We will start putting that into an apparatus replacement fund. And then, of course, anytime we can save money or add to it, that's not the only path. That is a path in the tighter times, if you will, that we will continue, because that revenue is made by utilizing vehicles on configurations. So we're going to roll that back in. So that's a path. We still need to address additional paths moving forward. That is not an inaccurate statement. It's a great concern. The second question came from Mr. Leonard. And again, I wasn't prepared for it, but I think it's a great question. That was a question on firemen. Is firemen solvent? Does it pay for itself? Does it cost us a whole bunch of money, or do we make a whole bunch of money? And the reality is it's almost a net zero. Fiscally year to date, meaning a couple weeks ago when we did the math, it was a negative $3,000, and that's over $100,305 annually. So to me, that's a positive. Now there is a caveat. We do pay $28,000 a year for Lifelike to manage our firemen program. So that's a negative 28,000. It's actually negative 25, 3,000 total. So $25,076. I have talked to staff. We will next year be looking at, we used to do that billing ourselves, but literally from, I believe they said from September to about the first part of December, it's a full-time job. Because that's when the majority of our renewals come in. We are open enrollment year round, so you can apply at any time. But historically, it used to be in those months, so a lot of the people have had it for years. We do have some new executive staff, becoming a fire district now. We do have some executive staff that I personally believe, we can work together. We did take, as you all know, we took some of, Jenny's workload off. She's no longer at the front desk. So she is our billing person. So that is a full-time position. That's what she does full-time. So that will, help. We do have less firemen members than we did back when we got rid of it, and it was significantly greater, so it was much more of a time. We do have Angevine, who is our front desk person, who is great help in all facets. She helps pretty much every one of us at different times of day. So we will be looking at that moving forward. We also used to do some very significant outreach to a lot of the retirement facilities, nursing homes, things like that. A lot of those individuals rely on that fire med. And I'll call it was put well to me by Jenny today. It's kind of a double-edged sword. Yes, we do have to write off what's not paid by whatever insurance they have. However, if we didn't have the fire med program, many of those people have made it clear to us, we're not going to call an ambulance because we can't afford it. So we would lose that $600, even if it's a Medicare Medicaid patient, $350 to $600 revenue. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. But really, in a sense, in my opinion and James' opinion, it is a net positive. It's a net positive for the community. It's not a huge negative fiscally, and it is like it is 1/4 of 1% of our annual write-offs of $10,577,840.64. So it's really it's a positive program at this time. I do appreciate the question because I think it is something that we need to pay attention to in two ways. One, if it strives to be a net negative, meaning it's going downhill, we need to evaluate that. But I also think because of that question, it pushed me to ask the question. And I think that there is some opportunity for us to get some increase in revenue and doing some of the things that we used to do. And that is get our name and our word out to retirement facilities and those places where a lot of times they're the ones who use the service, the fire med service. So last year we did lose a few fire med members, as I think most of you remember. Southwest Polk put some ambulances in service. Polk County ASA gave them the ASA that we used to cover in the Perrydale area. It's in Polk County. Very few, 20 calls a year. Few fire med members, please don't get me wrong, but not huge. So I would say I'm confident in saying it's a positive still at this time, but I did appreciate the question, and I wanted to bring back the actual data, and then of course answer your questions here or anybody else has any questions. That's all I have.
Any questions related to the chief's report on the 25-26 budget resolution? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the 25-26 fiscal year budget resolution 2025-03. Motion by Vice President Smith, and a second. Second by Treasurer Trapp. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Signify by saying nay. Hearing none, motion passes 5-0. Yeah.
The fire chief and staff, great presentation, the budget. I thought it was fantastic. I can only imagine really how much work goes into preparing this budget document. So just appreciation for you and staff. Thank you.
Any other comments from the board? Hearing none, we'll move to other business. And first up, we have board committee liaison report.
can start it off and fill in the blanks, I guess. So Chief Law kept me in the loop that our 2024 planning year evaluation is completed. That was submitted back in January. So basically, at this point, everyone that needed to be removed or added, everything's up to date with that. As far as valuation, we're sitting at about just under 921,000. The change in value would be interest and withdrawals only a few $100s.
Thank you. Anything to add, Chief Law?
That's what's up.
We've got branding, Richard Sparrow, and I believe, Chief Government online too.
Yeah, so I would defer to either Chief Darby or Cameron. If on that committee.
Okay. Anything you'd like to share, Janet?
Chief Darby?
Hi guys, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm hiding in my garage. My kids are yelling in the house. Just real quick on branding. Branding is kind of winding down right now. I just want to give a shout out to everyone on the branding committee. I know there's been a lot of work that went into this whole process, from, you know, our badges to our uniform logos to all that stuff. So thank you again for everybody. Badges did finally come in. They've been distributed to all staff members and some of our volunteer officers. So that's pretty exciting. And we have a bunch of spares too. Sign skirts for Station 1 are almost done. Those are the decorative skirts that go on the bottom of the signs. Those were on back order. And we have one more staff vehicle that needs some door logos. And then that's pretty much it for branding for now. We came in under budget, which is great. And I think we were pretty successful overall. Any questions for branding?
Comment?
So comment, thanks for all your hard work, Chief Darby and everybody else.
Thank you.
Thank you. Board information reports. Do we have any information to share? I'd like to congratulate Ray on his successful reelection. Yeah. Thank you, Richard Sparrow, for this time. You got one more meeting with us, but it's a pleasure working with you. Thanks for stepping up when we're starting the future. Yep. Didn't think of changing life, but we're happy to have you here. Department reports, we have 3099. He's out on the call, comes back to him. Yeah. The volunteer president, Mr. Goodman here, so I've got something to share.
I do. So in the past month, we've had a few things we've done. We've had 4 high school cadets turned 18, so they're now volunteers. Although I think we're losing one this summer for school. The volunteers also gave out 2 $1,500 scholarships to the cadets. And one's going to Chenectah and the other's going to Central Oregon Community College. And we've also awarded 2 of our AED grants, one to the McMinnville Junior Baseball organization and the other to Juliet's house. I think that's about it.
Thank you. Next up we have our chief report, starting with division reports.
Start with Chief Darby since he's online before he gets ambushed by kids.
I'm always getting ambushed by kids. Just real quick for everybody, if you haven't seen the new Deputy Fire Marshal staff vehicle, it did arrive. We did get the canopy and the stickers, all the logos on it. It did get sent up to Star Cars today for its lighting package, and we hopefully should have it in service here probably in about 2 weeks. So we're pretty excited about that. That's Deputy Fire Marshal Candella's vehicle is one of the oldest in the fleet, so we're excited to get that new vehicle in service for the district. And I think that's all I have right now, unless anybody has questions.
Thank you.
Chief Law?
Thank you, Chief. So, as I think you're aware, we're starting up the academy on Tuesday. We've got 6 onboarding. We've changed it up a little bit. We're going to be running essentially two concurrent academies, since 2 of the 6 are, we'll say, extremely familiar with our system, having been part of our organization in the past through different avenues. We're going to, I don't want to say fast track, but there's some things we can fast track them through, also covering all the competencies and get them out on the line to help relieve some of the vacancies. 2 weeks is the time right now. They'll still go through all the same testing, all the same skills and requirements, but we're familiar with those individuals, so we're confident that that'll be success. So really 3 weeks from today, we'll be having 2 more people relieved. I'm probably stealing Swinger's stuff, sorry. Then 4 others will be coming, finishing up the academy in the June. So that's kind of what we've been focusing on here lately, training. Start being this typical go back.
Yes, go back.
Weird.
Okay. He can wait till the end of the meeting. Go ahead, go back.
Hi, I apologize. I was just informed that it was not delivered today. So for everyone at the meeting, if you want to take a look at the new vehicle, it's parked out back. It's scheduled for Monday now, but it is there if you want to see it. It's pretty cool.
Thank you. I do have a report from Chief Hannafin, but I first want to start because this is part of her report. That way I won't read it exactly. And specifically to Chief Darby and Chief Law at the Academy, and in preparation of the Academy. A little over a year and a half ago, or almost a year and a half ago, when I came in, one of the things that I asked them both to do is kind of create more of a written format, if you will, of our academies, and they've been doing good academies for many years, but as people move on, or as someone's teaching a different class or whatever, we wanted to have that consistency. For the last several months, Chief Hannafin and Chief Law have put in a tremendous amount of work to physically document and put together packets, individual packets, as well as very detailed timelines by the hour, by the date and by the hour, by the instructor. And I'm super proud of both of them for their hard work and the professionalism that it shows, the students that are coming in to learn from the McMinnville Fire District. It just steps us up one more level. And it's not that it wasn't being done before, it's just that physically you can now see it. And as we all move on, it can be passed on, and then the next generation can tweak it. We've had conversations with staff, whether it be the union, the volunteers, the line staff. If you have recommendations, keep them coming. Well, now that we have a hard doc, we can update those hard docs if we're missing something, or we're just not hitting something, like hitting a home run, or something is like, if you guys have all taken classes, like, yeah, that could have been a 15-minute class, but I needed 3 more hours of this, we can make those tweaks. So thank you to Chief Law, thank you to Chief Hannafin. That is her first bullet point. We're preparing for the new hires at Junior Academy. This is included a review of practices, probationary processes, station presentation, culture check-ins. Each shift and each person has played a part in ensuring the district is ready to onboard our new members in a successful manner. And I'll also tell you that there are multiple line personnel who have provided assistance in this process, and then also helped out when Chief Law and Chief Hannafin were, trying to meet my unrealistic timeframes. Yes, Scott. And, you know, other things still had to happen. There are line staff also that picked up some of that stuff that just couldn't get done because we're trying to get other things out the door. So, her second bullet point, we're wrapping up, the relicense of all of our paramedics. I'm a little bit upset with her that she did not put that I have completed my recertification. Now granted, it was only a couple of days ago, but I did complete it. And also the ambulance licensing. The providers have all worked through the completion of their continuing education hours as required by the Oregon Health Authority for the next 2-year licensing, and the vehicle licensing renewal is required again. So we're doing that. I did see a big group of them go out today. And one other big note, I'm actually reading this firsthand too. She's happy to report that with the recent changes in move-up practices, we've seen a significant drop throughout May. In fact, we've had 0 requests for move-ups from us, from our partners. And in fact, I know for a fact we've gone out to maybe our neighboring agencies a couple of times, which is great because they helped us 1,000 times. So, we've only called in for help 2 times for active calls. I don't know if you understand what that means. That's huge. We were averaging 450 move-ups per year. Last year, with some operational changes that we made, we got it down to about 350. And then another operational change a few weeks ago, a month ago. She kind of rolled out, and now she's very pleasantly reporting we've had no. That's a huge deal. And I say that not just from an operational perspective, from the decision makers and the people who, but also the line staff. Because what that means is our crews are getting into service quicker, they're paying attention to the radio, the battalion chiefs are managing the battalion. There's no one person that falls on, that's everybody. It's really,
they can help improve the system overall.
Yeah.
It really is.
We've worked with our 911 partners, and gone away from automatic move-ups, but that was just, it's one of those things that probably happened years ago and never just stopped happening, but they were just trying to be helpful. But sometimes, you know, we really needed to check in with our ambulance at the hospital and say, hey, how long until you can clear? Hugely proud of that, and hugely proud of all staff, because that's not a single decision or a single program or policy. Chief Hannafin wrote the policy, met with her battalion chiefs, and the battalion chiefs very much took it seriously, and were very willing to manage that. And then again, of course, they're busy. So anytime you can get an extra, you know, soda at the hospital or lunch or whatever, Ben has done that, and they're, you know, getting back in service. So kudos to all of them. That is her report. She is happy to answer questions. I'll take notes if anybody has questions. If you need her to get back, or I can try and answer. Right, hearing none. Start getting updates on my son's biographies. Safer Grant has come out. And unfortunately, it's a pretty significant difference than years past. It's a 75% first year, 35% second year, 35% third year. I'm going to try and run this off the top of my head, but it's like that would cost us $350,000 additional the first year. And when I say $1 million, I think it's 960, 980. Year 2 and year 3, and then 1.23 from then on. So we're still reviewing it. We will bring back something to the board if we choose to move forward. We have met with our grant providers. I have read the NOFO as well as their requirements. We would, and it is recommended for a full engine company request. That's not abnormal. In fact, actually, that is kind of looking for it. We do fall in the highest level of need for, if I get this right, for square miles per 1,000 people, which puts us in a rural category. Even though we're urban, because of our size of district and the number of people we have, it makes us rural by the definition, which puts us in the highest category, which I did not know that, which is why people. So I'm not asking, or I'm not giving a recommendation tonight. This just came out last week. It's not what I was hoping for, but I think it's something we need to seriously consider and look at, but it's very high cost. So, just so. Just on that. Yamhill County Fair, we have, Chief Darby has really kind of taken the lead. Janet as the board president, we have a great working relationship with the fair. And I'm not saying we haven't in the past, but we really kind of, our goal this year, and Chief Darby kicked it off, was to meet with the fair staff earlier so that we could help and they could help us. It's been an excellent relationship. I think we've had 2 or 3 specific meetings. I know that Chief Darby's worked at a couple others, but the fair board, the fair, as well as the board president, they've worked great. We've changed some things this year. I would call it changing with the times. Very receptive by the fair staff, and we're working hard to make sure that we provide what they need to. So it's been a great relationship. Thank you, Janet, for her leadership, and the staff's leadership has been very receptive. So I think it's a really good relationship. I think we'll have things from our end, not from their end, from our end, set up a little bit better. We are still working with our county partners in staffing first aid stations. Some noticeable changes you'll see this year. We will be staffing and meeting with a paramedic and EMT at the first aid station at all times, so that we make sure that there's EMS personnel. Sometimes our volunteer agencies are only included, cannot provide an EMT or an EMR. In some cases they do. This will ensure that we will have medical personnel on site, as you all, I don't really need to tell you, but that's a big deal if something unfortunate was to happen, because they're not just our eyes and ears, they get the ball rolling quicker. But it also stops the ambulances from trying to have to navigate out there for something that could easily be taken care of by a paramedic or an EMT. So the fair worked graciously with us. I still owe them some paperwork, but we're going to kind of work it with the rodeo that we also already staff. We're also going to work with our county partners to help us staff that first aid station. The fair worked with us, gave us a public safety area. We have worked with the sheriff's office and the emergency manager to kind of have a public safety area, kind of in the area, mostly in the area of where you saw the sheriff last year and where you saw the fire and life safety, but we've got full power now, so we'll actually be able to use the full power, the smoke machines and the air conditioning and stuff like that, because it's real hot for kids to get in there. So, and all that is because of the fair board, and the fair staff. And then worked very closely with the emergency manager to make sure that we make that a full public safety area. We will be putting an air conditioned treatment tent out there this year, so we can treat people with dignity, but also a lot of our problems out there are just heat related. So this will give us a place to take that away from the crowd, but also Chief Darby and his staff will be running the fire and life safety trailer this year, which was a huge success last year, and it was only maybe 30% of what we could have been doing just because of heat and power. It wasn't fair for us to steal power from the vendors because we kept kicking their breaker right and trying to do our own stuff. So, is anything good?
That's it. I appreciate certainly Chief Darby. We started with aftercare last year, a ride through the fairgrounds, and really from there said, what can we do better, different? And so that kind of kicked off the meetings we've been having. So I really appreciate the partnership and trying to make the county fair better and make sure we're set up to serve the almost 40,000 people who we expect go through the fair.
And we've worked with, I've met with McPD also, and the sheriff. So we're just trying to make sure that I'm sorry, in addition to that, we will be providing a staff sheet out there during the peak times, and peak times, at the fair's request are 1,600 hours to 23 hours. So just to keep that continuity, and again, I have no belief that anything is gonna happen out there. They've done a great job, but if it did, we would be prepared from a fire district's perspective, not prepared. They've done a great job. Audit, we continue to get, audit went quiet for a while because they were doing taxes. And now they come back with some more questions. Every question they get, we immediately provide information on. We're hoping that this gets done sooner than later. We already have booked next year's audit for November. So we'll just roll right back in. You know, unfortunately, as a new fire district, you know, again, we still had city stuff that was out there, and there's documentation. And, you know, they asked us about a $22,000 bill today. It came from the city. We have all the documentation. We provided it, but now we have to show it, which is what an auditor's for. So we continue to work with them immediately as soon as they ask us a question. Provided everything we asked us or are providing. And I don't think I'll give you a little bit of a hiring update. So as Chief Law said, we are down to 6. We had 7. We did have 1 withdraw. We tried to get another person in. It doesn't backgrounds and such. We tried hard, but it didn't work. So we're at 6, which is 1 short of staff. So we are going to. This team will be working on Monday to start our process of going back out for another list for EMT, paramedic, and single role. We will have a continuous list. We only have 1 paramedic left. I think we have 2 EMTs. We have engaged a different company this year. I believe I talked about it at one of the other board meetings. It's a little more digital, a little more fancy, you know, kind of the younger generation style, if you will. And so we're going to try that this next time. They create our own landing page for us. They do all of our audio visual. It's all electronic, you know, until they get here. So hopefully a few less mistakes, meaning they can't click that they're a paramedic if they're not a paramedic, that kind of thing. We've struggled with the previous company we've been using. Just we're not the only ones. Others have struggled with them. So we're going to try something different. We've already met with him twice. He's itching. He's ready for us to go. We just had a lot of stuff going on, but I talked to Michelle the other day, and we're going to start working on that next week. So our goal is to have a list always. So when a position comes open, it's not a, okay, now let's put it out, or let's update the job descriptions. Let's put it out. Let's keep it out for 60 days. Let's close it. You know what I mean? We're 6 months down the road before we hire. The intent is next guy on the list, backgrounds, physical, medical, whatever they have to do, psychological, so get it in. So,
Provide a rundown of what we're doing for recruitment.
Yes, I can. So Chief Hannafin has these are some new ones. Chief Hannafin has made 2 teams. I call them college teams, and we've already done 1 outreach with Schmecker Community College. Their teams are going to go out to specifically the colleges right now, but we would go out to any job fair if we knew about it, and promote McMinnville Fire District. Promote us from what we provide, what we can do, contractual, information, things like that. We're switching vendors, as I just stated. And, because we've opened it up a little bit more than we have in the past, we've actually got, it's pretty amazing. When we open something for 72 hours, thinking that we're going to have a couple people apply, we have the most amount of paramedics. I don't know, Scott, in the history of McMinnville.
It's been a while.
Yeah, okay. So, dang, it's not the history, but it was crazy. So we're going to continue to see, well, what did we do? And I think a lot of it is just opening up that market, if you will, and looking. I mean, we had fault people, we had AMR personnel, we had other fire district personnel, we had new college students. So we had a very diverse group of individuals. We need to continue to track why, ask them why and how, and continue our paths forward of making it. I don't know if more appealing is the right word, but more accessible, more appealing, more understanding. It's getting, streamline, that's a great one. Streamline to where it's not 5 different applications, they're all paper. These will all be electronic. Everything can be done online. You can't go to the next thing until you finish the first thing. Whereas when it's all paper, you can, and then you forgot to do this, so now you're not qualified type of deal. You know, and then, and keep recruiting others, not just kind of, and that's not what was happening before, but it just seemed like we were kind of stuck. So we just got to keep turning those rocks over and keep, you know, looking at it. It's tough for us to compete with all of our competitors around us. Maybe they have, it's not all about money. They have cool specialty teams, or they have more engines or trucks, or, you know, things that are very palatable to people. And that's okay. But there are people who want to work at McMinnville too for many reasons, and we need to recruit those individuals. So we're trying, we need to get better, we need to continue to do better, but we are not sitting on our hands. We're working daily, and any input is very important. So, thank you. And as Chief Law said, 2 of them will be coming off the line early after 2 weeks, so they will actually be online. They'll be writing about, I believe it's 3 shifts. I think Amy said 3 shifts. Chief Hannah, I'm sorry, said 3 shifts, and then they'll actually be part of the crew. Now, those are all theoretical. If they need a little bit extra time, we're not going to push them off. We, Chief Law specifically, Michelle, have, I will say, have a final draft of our resident volunteer program. I have to say resident volunteer program. So we will be going out for that next month and opening that up to 3 resident volunteers. Chief Hanford and her staff, Chief Stovin, are working on the bedrooms upstairs. The last thing I have is, and we talked about this last meeting, I did reach out to the city's building official and ask if we could put a medic unit just during the day at Station 15, which is what I believed the conversation was, and that was not. So we'll continue to move forward with other paths, but as of right now, there is no staffing ability at Station 15 at this time. So, but we will continue with the city and others. And that's all I have, unless there's questions.
Reason why there's an element?
Yeah.
Solely the zoning.
It's not the zoning, it's the essential facility requirements. That although probably none of the buildings except for one in the county are essential, they're grandfathered because they either were when they were built or they're just grandfathered type of deal. Station 12 being a perfect example. All those, the same rules applied when Station 12 was occupied. But, you know, unfortunately, we were looking for a trade. Was there a trade that we could do, a safety trade or something as they have asked us to work with engineers and consultants, which we are. We got 1 bid back. Chief Darby just got a second vendor that I met at the Chiefs conference. Son's calling because he won the baseball game. He's going to call and meet with that architect and get the same type of information, get a bid, things like that. So we're going to continue moving forward. It'll just unfortunately take a little longer than we were hoping. We were hoping to get, what we were looking for is a temporary occupancy type thing, not a long term, but more of a temporary occupancy so that we could start providing. I mean, just to give you an example, I was first in on a car wreck today on Lafayette Highway from Station 15 and Medic 12 was second in because they were coming from the hospital. So same general district, don't call it. And then, Dayton and McMinnville resources arrived after that. So it's proven that it's needed. It's proven that it makes a difference. I was first in on, in fact, I gave the size of my office on the next door building that had a fire alarm. It's proven. It's necessary. It's needed. And we'll just keep working, keep our heads up and keep marching down the road to make it successful. There are other financial avenues that I'm working on right now that have a promising outlook, nothing official, but promising outlook. So again, we're not going to sit on our hands, but it'll be slower. But we knew that was a potential. But we'll keep. So, any other questions for me?
Anything with the House bill? Is that?
Sure. The 3870 is not really existent. There are, I'll let President Garber talk about what he's done because we are on the construction side also. But I will tell you, and I don't know how much of it's public, but I will tell you that there are other funding avenues that have been brought to us through the state that are potentials. Much better potentials than 3870. I can't say this, but I would say 3870 is dead. I mean, I can't say it because no one has said it's dead, but it's dead.
Submitted form, yeah.
Yeah. In its submitted form, that's accurate, and there isn't going to be any changes to that. But again, I'll let President Garvin talk. President Garvin has spoke on our behalf many times. So there's still the construction side, and then there's also a potential other fiscal side that I still have open.
Yeah, so I think it was the 9 off the top of my head. There's a hearing for water dollars. And I registered, we received an email that it's gonna open later, and I was just on my computer early one morning. Clicked through my email and saw that it was actually open, and they had sent the email to say it was open yet. I registered, there was 260 something people registered, and when I showed up, there was supposed to be 4 rooms, plus the main room, and kind of like draft day. I got drafted before standard day. I got drafted on day 1. And yes, I went and spoke. I used 2 minutes and 57 seconds of my 3 minutes allowed, and it was well received. And in the hallway, it was well received by some lobbyists that I knew from city work. And overall, the chief and I, when we've been over there, we've had very positive feedback, and as we've been there more and more, not just positive feedback when you're meeting with somebody one-on-one, but positive feedback when you're passing people in the hall, in the elevator or stairway or whatever. So I think even if we, like I said before, even if we come up empty-handed dollars-wise this year, we've definitely made headway in building relationships for future after. It's been a heavy lift, but I definitely can confidently say that it's not for nothing. And then do you want to speak on the meeting we had, or that's the call?
Yes. We have, to the point of ambulance revenue, specifically, there's been a lot of discussion, and President Garvin and I have been to the Capitol, Treasurer Trapp and I have been to the Capitol. And I agree with them both. We've had some very positive interactions. So much to the tune of, like President Garvin said, we may not end up with dollars, but we also end up on the front page of X because they were asking us the questions, which is a huge advantage because as a mid-sized fire department, we don't usually get to have that input of what's hurting us. It's usually the large organizations that they might have lobbyists, or they might be better connected, or might have more experience, or things like that. We had a meeting with, and this was at their request, Senator Merkley's office reached out to us because of the meeting that President Garber and I were in. And it was specific to Medicare and Medicaid and how it affects us. And Representative Elmer was on it. Senator Merkley's, it wasn't just his field rep, it was actually his actual Medicare Medicaid. That's what they do for him. Rep Elmer was on there, her chief of staff was on there. I think I'm missing somebody.
Markley's field rep, Markley is like the person, I forget her name, blonde hair. Yeah. And then Markley's Medicaid expert. But
it was great, it was really good because I can tell you at the state and the federal level, which this has been being worked on for a long time by many organizations, the OFCAs and even the IFFs. But I think it's getting some traction on, we can't continue to write off $10,577,840.64 and receive $3,758,944.67. You can't have it. And and like I told him, this isn't a threat. It's not a threat. We're here to help with a solution. But we can't make the solution. The state can't make the solution. The feds couldn't make the solution, but much easier than we could. But it's going to take in the county. It's going to take all of us to work together. And there's organizations around us that are very not financially stable, and we will all be in that boat if this type of stuff continues. So I think that's our third discussion, specifically with either Merkley's office, and then a couple at least with Rep. Elmer's office. But it's the first time we were brought into the national side of things, meaning DC was part of the conversation, and it was at their request. So we painted a factual picture. We had factual information. I brought Chief Hannafin in from the not only the OFCA side, but also her EMS side of the state. I brought in Jenny, which is our billing person, myself. I told Michelle about it about 5 minutes beforehand, so she was not with us. That was my fault. But it was good to explain to them what it means and how much an ambulance costs us. And we're doing that right now. No one's asked us to do that, but Noah and Jenny are working on a project, and Michelle, for me on how much does an ambulance actually cost us annually? How much do we get in return? Basically, how much are we losing per ambulance? Now, you also saw AP Triton's information, which was 500 or 640,000. But remember, those are all national numbers. They use how much AMR's part of this, and it's a true story. AMR's cardiac monitor. Well, AMR's cardiac monitor is much less than what McMinnville's paying for cardiac monitor, which is by 10,000. So we're actually using our actual true data. How much our cardiac monitors, how much I am paying in fuel, how much an ambulance costs us, you know what I mean, how much our personnel staff are. And we're getting all the way down to a very nitty-gritty level, so we can factually tell people, you would run this business if you were a businessman, you know, or woman. How do we sustain this? And I really think it's getting traction, not from us, from what everybody's doing nationwide. We're just part of it. So I think a lot of that, to President Garber's point, is because we have been out there politically and we haven't said baby suburban, this is the end of the world, and if you don't give us this money, we're just going to quit, or not quit, but fold. But we are saying, if you don't make change, that is going to happen. That is a fact. And here's why, and we're working on the action numbers so we can present that to the board. If you in the community were ever asked the question, you can answer it with, you're probably not going to memorize it all, but you're going to have very good statistical data to tell the community. So in the event down the road we come up with a different funding source or an assistant funding source or whatever, you guys would have one. So we're trying to do it now, so if you need it later, you have it now and not in 2 or 3 months. So we're working on that project now. It's started a couple weeks ago-ish, 2-3 weeks ago, something like that.
I think the big thing is that we all understand it's not this year thing or even next fiscal year thing, it's a long game, you know. Came about, just having a relationship with Berkeley over all the town halls I've been in with them. And, you have that town hall, I think February, that you presented the flag, the chief, and, in the round table, I brought that up and he's like, that's a lot of numbers, I want to talk to you for outside of this meeting. And then we met field rep Gustavo, he's a great guy. And
Lives in McMinnville.
lives in McMinnville, but has, you know, his field rep for like when I was Oregon. And then, he said that these people wanted him, so I just told him whatever we could help him. Happy to jump on any phone call or supply testimony or whatever they need. And, you know, that it's also probably not a coincidence that Medicare and Medicaid are a hot part of the issue right now. So, there you go, it's very well there.
I'd say is in my experience, they so often legislators don't have information. And so having the communication, making the effort, having communication, relationship, at the table for future conversations looking forward. So if we're not successful in this session, it sounds like we might not be by request relationship report. I want to go back from my board report. On May 15th, as part of my role at OFCA, subcommittee, help organize Oregon Fire Certificate Capital, Longing Capital, and appreciation to your staff, you and your staff for providing medic unit for the app display, address display, and Chief Hanson and Chief Darby also were there to lobby. And I was happy to be in one. So we had about 40 meeting legislators, about 21 fire chiefs. So we're trying to organize people together on the issue that are important to the Oregon Fire Service. I sat in on one. I did several, but one time I was paired with Chief Hanson, and she spoke about EMS, GMT, and I just must say she speaks about it very effectively and very efficiently and very successful. So, great to have someone with their knowledge and background on this issue. You can say, how complicated issue. That's like something how it passes.
I mean, on that point, and I'm not going to say who or what, but I was engaged by even local people who up high level that said ambulances make a lot of money, and if any of the ambulances in this county go out, there will be multiple private ambulances behind to fill that gap. And I call that a false to Greek Godfrey. I mean, I have to be out there stating the facts, and that's what sent me to this. In bringing in Noah and Jenny on, and Michelle on, I have to be better. Like, I have to be out there as the fire chief and let my community leaders know the facts, because my community leaders don't know them. To Vice President Smith's point, the state doesn't know it, and if they don't know it, the feds don't know it. They know that there's an issue, but they just don't know the level. And they don't know that we're at that breaking. There's not tomorrow and the next day. We're at that, hey, we gotta go left and right. And so I learned that. I learned that at the state with President Garvin and Treasurer Trapp. It was a great experience, but I can't agree with you more. They're good. We never had one negative experience. Maybe one that wanted to go to lunch or something, but not a negative experience. They were all positive, and we probably won't get anything out of it fiscally, but I will tell you, we came out of it very politically savvy. So, and appreciated. So, you know, a lot of comments on Donna's handouts and our pamphlets, and you know, all staff helped work on that to make sure that President Garvin had stuff he needed to pass on. speak about, it was funny, there's backstory to it, but, we got more comments on used portfolios than you would ever have imagined. But, so I agree.
Well, we're doing 9 with the group again. So, with that, did anybody get any correspondence? Hearing none, any additional information? Any informational items? Before you have one item, but you guys have anything? The rate 5 was draft budget committee meeting minutes from 25, 15. Was there anything you want to share with her? There was draft, yeah.
Yeah, the county's talking next year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did anybody see anything that needed to be corrected?
Good. All right.
Oh, hold on.
Well, is there, say anything?
We're good night, sir. Thank you.
All right, with that, our next meeting will be Thursday, June 26th, 2025 at 6 p.m. here at Station 1. And the meeting is adjourned at 7:38 p.m.